Hello and welcome back to Rogue Core, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about all the new weapons that were added into Rogue Core and kind of go over what my general feelings are about each of them. It's kind of too early to tell how strong they're going to be since these are going to be changed a lot throughout the series. And right now there's a lot of bugs going on in the Rogue Core Alpha, so certain things are working not really the way that they're supposed to. Other things just don't work at times. Like I've had my shield generator completely leave me. I've had Ellis just eat my levels to where I couldn't level up. There was a bug a couple days ago when it was just eating artifacts and I couldn't get any artifacts. So there's been a lot of just weird shenanigans going on with Rogue Core. Either way, let's talk about the weapons here and go over each of the new ones. There is also returning weapons as well. However, they can all be like upgraded similar to the upgrade system already in Deep Rock. Usually these are a bit more extreme in the upgrades though, where you might get 100% more magazine size, you might get electricity or cryo on your weapon, so it can make already existing weapons feel a whole lot more interesting. Like you can have ricocheting stubby and it doesn't really feel like regular stubby, or you can have a full auto multi-shot grenade launcher, which is pretty fun too. Either way, let's hop into the new gun. So first up we have the Mag Blaster. The Mag Blaster is an assault rifle and I found it to be pretty common throughout the games. This one feels somewhat similar to the GK2, that's probably the closest weapon to it. It does look really cool. I love the reload animation for this thing, and it seems to shoot 2 bullets, although I think if one of the bullets gets blocked, it still does the same amount of damage whether you hit with 1 or 2. I didn't really notice that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the way that it works or not, but it seems to be working just fine. This one holds 20 shots by default, which is okay. This one does have a slower rate of fire than something like the GK2 usually does, and the projectiles also have movement speed. They're not hit scan like the GK2, so you do have to lead a little bit, but it does generally do a little bit more damage than something like the GK2 does. Overall, it's a pretty cool assault rifle. It has all the same like inspect animations as the GK2 or as the Warthog, so nothing way crazy there, but it is a very cool looking gun, and if you're a big fan of like assault rifles, you're probably going to like this one quite a bit. Next up, we have the Field Blaster, which is by far the most difficult weapon for me to find. I have found this thing like twice throughout all of the runs that I've done so far. It took me like an hour and a half just trying to find the footage for this one. And this one's pretty much how the turrets work in regular Deep Rock, where they put out a force field, this blocks projectiles. If you get hit by it, it doesn't really push you back like how it does in standard Deep Rock. It just seems to slow down things that you hit. You can fire this one multiple times. It holds 8 shots, and the projectiles move incredibly slow, so you will have to lead your shot quite a bit if enemies are moving quickly. Makes it fairly awkward there, but it is a very interesting gun. It's also got some really cool inspect animations. I haven't gotten to use this one a whole lot though, so I can't really say how great it is. It seems okay as a secondary, especially for very close range fighting. Like if you want to play Slicer or Guardian, it seems better. On the other classes, it seems just kind of okay. Up next, we have the Devastator Blaster. This one is a lot more common and is a very cool weapon. So this weapon is a full auto pistol that also has explosive rounds loaded into it. And the explosives are actually pretty big. They're not quite as big as like a grenade launcher shot, I don't think, but they're actually fairly similar. It's almost like you took a mini grenade launcher and loaded it just with 6 shots, and you could fire this thing out into crowds. It works really well against crowds. It can work pretty well against single targets. Usually comes with a decent amount of bullets. It's very forgiving to use. Probably one of my new favorites in this game. Up next, we got the Hammer, or just the bolt gun, because this one seems like a bolter. It is very cool. So this one is semi-auto or full auto. I've gotten them both. I think it's semi-auto by default. Holds 12 rounds in it, and it can be shot actually very fast. You can actually shoot it a little bit faster than the animation between like the bolt cycling, so that's kind of cool. This one does very high damage per shot, and I'm pretty sure it's a hit scan. It's either a hit scan or it's just a very fast moving projectile to where you usually don't miss at least at medium range. Maybe at longer ranges it would be a little bit more difficult. It's a really cool looking gun. There's quite a few different upgrades that I found for this, and it's a fairly common gun too. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure if they've tweaked the spawn rates at all throughout Rogue Core to make it so like the new guns are more common than what they would otherwise be, but it's a very fun weapon. Probably not a great early game weapon, because whenever I've seen people grab this right away, probably because it's brand new, it usually doesn't help them too much since it isn't as fast as some of the other weapons, and if you're getting overwhelmed, which seems to happen pretty often in Rogue Core, then the bolter can be a little bit awkward overall. But if you take it as like a secondary weapon and you just want to basically snipe with it, it's actually pretty solid. Our 5th gun is the Laser Revolver, and this one is really cool. So this one works very similar to like the coil gun in regular Deep Rock, except for this one can't punch through terrain like the coil gun, and you don't really reload it the same way. It's more you just wait for it to charge, as well as you can fire it at any charge. So you can tap fire this one and it will consume less ammo, but it will do less damage per shot then. And this one also isn't hit scan. It does take time to get to the target, so it's not quite as forgiving as something like the coil gun, but when it is fully charged, it does do a lot of damage. Also, if you get upgrades for this one and you start increasing its mag size, that also increases its overall charge length. So if you like double its mag size, then it goes from not just going up to 100%, then it can go all the way up to 200%, which does make it so it can hit things really, really hard. I found that it's very strong on the spotter class, since you get guaranteed crits there, and guaranteed crits on a very high charged attack generally does a lot of damage. It's really good for taking out big enemies. It can be a little bit more awkward if there's a bunch of small enemies though, since you can't fire this one out very quickly. It's not you can't shoot it as fast as you can pull the trigger. It does take a second to charge up and then fire shots even on the lowest setting of this gun. And I found that the lowest setting doesn't always kill even the smaller guys. So you even then need to charge it up a little bit, or be throwing in like pickaxe attacks or your special abilities or something like that. I think that that works a little bit better, but still a really cool gun regardless. And then the last of the new guns is the brand new Shock Blaster. So this one is pretty cool too. This one just arcs electricity around. It works kind of similar to the Taser from Deep Red Galactic Survivor, where you can shoot this at an enemy and then it will bounce lightning into nearby enemies as well. It also seems to be really good with ricochet, since you can hit multiple enemies, at least for crowds, and it does take time to charge up your shots. You can kind of see this by a little indicator on your reticle. So once it charges up, it'll be doing full damage, but again, you can spam it a little bit quicker. It is actually fairly accurate too at even longer ranges, and it actually has a pretty narrow hitbox sometimes. So sometimes it looks like I've shot an enemy, but I've actually just like shot over their shoulder or something like that. It took a little bit getting used to, but generally like just hitting body shots with this into crowds works really well. The Shock Blaster is really cool. It also has like my favorite animations in it too, where you can put your finger through the portal and have all sorts of wacky things going on. The really long stretchy finger though seems to be kind of nerfed, at least in terms of how often it pops up, because that one's my favorite, and I've gotten it like a total of 2 times, even though I've grabbed this weapon a whole bunch of times and just spammed like the animations for it. So I'm not sure why that is. It could just be broken in the alpha right now, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a little bit hard to say. But these are all the new weapons, at least as of right now, that are in Rogue Core, not counting class abilities and stuff. We'll have a separate video just going over an overview of the classes. But tell me your thoughts on these weapons. What do you think about them? How good do they seem? And thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye!